Okay, we've got the neck. I'm trying to make sure that these are seated. I can get a piece of paper up underneath the edge. And I guess they're down as far as they're going to go. So we'll just have to work with that. Just going to recheck the leveling. Okay. That first fret is high on this end. I'll have to take that into consideration. Whoa! That's one of those. Let me persuade it a little more. Doesn't seem like it's going to matter a whole lot. Wow. I can see that this one is a little bit flat on the top. They took it down. It's still too high. And they didn't crown it completely. Whoa. Now the bouncer. Whoa, another one. Another one. Little one. They seem to be better up this way. Oh, a little bit there. And second to last one. It's got a problem. This side down. Alright. It's a taping job and a leveling job, just like I expected it was going to be. Darn. Alrighty, it's neck time, and I've straightened it and I've checked it, and all these red, 14 of them that I can measure at this point, are high frets. So I'm going to do the whole leveling. There are signs on top of many of these frets where they did do a rough leveling, and you can see they're still flat. There's not a nice dome that came back on them, and even though they're still flat, they're still high. So, and even my first fret is high. And how you find that is running your rocker like that. See if it hits that, or if it goes click when it comes down off the first fret. And it does. So I couldn't measure that one because that one's high, but we'll see how it turns out. I will do the leveling with my homemade tools, and then I'll get out my other pieces of sandpaper to do the crowning with, and cut them all up to the size I need, and block and do it like I normally do with my rubber back and forth to form the crowns. That's the way I like to do it, and that's the way we're going to do it again. Okie dokie. That's the frets polished up. And now I did something today. Oh, here it is. I bought Minwax Polyshades Espresso stain in satin, which I'm going to try on this fretboard. I hope it doesn't screw up the little markers, but I'm going to try that to see if I can even out the stain and make it a little bit darker. I'm hoping this won't totally screw it up. Then I'll have to ask J-Man to get me a new neck from WESTCREEK because he has a good connection with them. This is a fresh can, so hasn't been opened yet. Presumably, we'll see what's going on in here. I saw a chip at the store that this had been put on, so they said, and just wanted to see. It is an oil base. I was going to go with the Old English that I normally put on, but I thought let me try this stain stuff first. It's a little bit darker. And see how it takes to the board. Oops, I'm getting I put gloves on my right hand and it's leaking all over my left hand. If this works, that might come in handy again sometime. Alright, until tomorrow. As it turns out, the stain was not that effective on the neck. And it is almost a full 24 hours and it hadn't dried, so I took some lemon oil and I went over the top of it, and I got a lot of it off. But even before that happened, I was buffing away with this white cloth, taking off some of the little wet marks and getting little bits along the frets. And yeah, I do not recommend doing that. So I learned my lesson. It cost me $16 to find that out, and some work. Let me go retrieve the body and we'll see if we can put it back on. Alrighty then, we've got everything ready to go. See if we can get it back in there where we want the shim to stay in place. Okay. Tighten, tighten, tighten. The drill got it really tight. Okay. Ta-da. How does it look? Well, we shall see. We shall see. Next thing is to find some strings. We are going with a set of 9 to 46s because that's what I have. And I am using the signature luthier's knot, since these are knot locking tuners. Because that's what I prefer. Okay, we're going to have to do some more adjusting. Okie dokie, this is the update. After figuring out that the shim that I needed was the good one, with the other strings, turns out no, after I put this on again, didn't work. I also took out 2 of the springs and adjusted the screws in just a tiny bit more to get more balance with just the same 3 springs. Let's go with the springs instead of strings. So yeah, I took out another one and then one that was a little bit different. So it's working okay. I can get it exactly approximately where I need it. But just took it to the amp to see what it was going to do, and I've got a problem in the middle position. Switch or something is jamming up against something. It was working, and then all of a sudden I go to the middle position, nothing, just touch it, it's there. I can even waddle that and it goes in and out. So again, off with the neck, off with the pick guard, and see what could be the problem. Shit happens, right? So back to bench number 2 to do that in case I need to put the soldering iron on something. Here's the 411 on what happened at bench 2. I took everything off, I looked inside, and I found out that the larger switch with the pins at the bottom were touching the shielding paint at the bottom of the cavity, so when I would push on that or waddle this, it would just touch it and short out the middle position, because the middle position is basically wired right at the crown of the bottom of the switch. And so I put it all back together after putting a piece of shielding tape and bending the pins a little bit. I put it all back together. I came back to the amp and I checked it, and it's doing it again, and I'm going, what? How can that be? Back to bench 2. Everything came off again. And then I find that, oh, I actually have also a switch problem. The contact that grabs the slider is not tight enough. It's weak. So I put a little tension on that. And I put it all back together again. And then I find out that I can't get the action that I'm looking for with the shim that's in the neck. Even though I made it smaller. Off it came again, and I'm thinking, maybe I don't need a shim. So now there's no shim in the neck, and it's back on again. So, you know, since the beginning of this thing, this neck must have been on and off this guitar at least 15 times. At least 15 times. So, I think it's ready. I've got the action that I'm looking for. I can take that card off. The back end is up, just off the body, almost completely flat, like that, but just off, and holding the tension that I want, which means that it'll give me the whammy I'm looking for if I want to use that. And the action is set. The truss rod is set. And since the back and forth happened, I left it here just overnight into today, and it's holding. No worse than any other guitar that you put down here with the temperature, and you've got to touch the keys just a little bit. Now these strings are still new. They're probably still stretching. So now it's time to go and give it another little play at the amp, and we're going to call it done. Alright, I've got it set up with the basic built-in compressor at the amp, and this is hitting the tube screamer, hitting the compressor, coming out of the amp over there, and we'll just play a little stuff. Now, if you really want to hear a lot of finger picking and stuff, see my buddy J-Man at the link in my description. I'm not a picker like him. I like the more slowly bluesier type stuff that I'm partial to. So that's what I'm going to play a little bit of. I'm going to start on the bridge. Everything's up full. And we're just going to start this B track. B minor track. Okay, straight, no compressor. I have to say that now that it's completely set up, fixed of all of its woes, wow, now it is really nice to play. I have to say. And I got away with no shim in the end. So, yep. It's now a keeper. WESTCREEK. If you need any help learning how to make them like this, let me know. I'll take a little trip over and I'll show you how to get this done right. I appreciate all your support, guys. See you in the next one.